Hi guys, Jonathan here. So I'm writing this video the night that I came back from Tangier to Lisbon. And you might be wondering, why wasn't I sleeping? Well, on the last day, I think that I ate or drank something that I shouldn't have. And I spent a few interesting hours between the bathrooms of Kasbah, Grotte der Kool and the airport in the end. And if he's watching this, I would like to apologize to the old man that was giving out tissues outside of the public bathrooms at the Grotte der Kool, because I could have at least given him like 1 dirham or something like that, but in that moment I wasn't exactly feeling myself. So if you ever had the famous traveler's sickness, you know what I'm talking about. After starting off with this big story, you might be thinking that I have nothing left to share, but trust me, it's worth staying until the end. So I call this video The Extremes of Morocco or something like that. I still have to choose the title, because in 5 days between Tangier and Chefchaouen, I think that I saw it all. Incredibly kind people, very persistent or annoying people, stunning places and not so stunning situations. Of course, as I'm talking, you're already seeing some of the pictures that I took that in this exact moment I'm still editing, so I hope that they will turn out good. And well, there are scenes that seem to come from another planet, moments of slow and difficult life, oppressive heat and endless walks up and down steep alleys. And that thing reminded me a lot of Lisbon actually. But I know what you're here for. Yes, sometimes it can be challenging, especially through the Medina's alleys. Now, I don't want to sound like a complaining tourist, especially because I come from Italy that is unfortunately known for being home to many cunning people, you know. But here's the reality, like among the many people honestly trying to make a living, there are also those who will try to take advantage, of course. They will follow you, give you wrong directions to make you walk more and then ask for money. Like, if you have social anxiety, be prepared, because you'll need the patience and the ability to say no, like kindly but firmly at the same time, and just go on. And one of the hardest parts, I think, that was seeing the kids asking for money with the tourist children going around at the same time. You know, you see children, you see a bunch of children, and you think that they're all the same, and they are all the same, but some of them are visiting a city with their parents, and some others are asking for money. So it's you know, talking about extremes. Like me, for example, when I was young, I never been abroad with my parents. My parents never traveled, basically. At the same time, I was not asking for money. So, you know, it's both sides of the spectrum in some ways. And it's a bit weird to see, honestly. It's one of those things that you usually see in documentaries, on media, this kind of stuff, and seeing it like in real life is another thing. Like, I have to admit that this trip in some situations made me feel small, because I'm 29 years old. Like, I turned 29 during the trip actually. I thought that I had more experience like in my life in general, but I realized that I still have to learn a lot. So, coming back to my channel basically, and what I usually talk about on this channel, let's talk a bit about photography in Morocco. In my opinion, both Tangier and Chefchaouen are total playgrounds, like photography wise. They are both insanely photogenic, and every corner is basically a photo waiting to happen. So I highly recommend taking pictures in Chefchaouen, in Tangier, because they are the only places that I saw in Morocco, but use common sense. Keep your gear low key, small cameras, small lenses. If you want to take a portrait of someone, ask. If you don't want to take portraits, probably it's even better. As I said before, using common sense. I mean, you're not at the zoo, you are in their home, and you have to be polite and respect the people. Actually, it's something that I usually do in general. I try not to take portraits of people just like that, just bumping on their nose with my camera, like in every corner of the world. Just remember that in some places rules are applied differently, or some people may have more or less problems with photography, with your photography, or with you photographing them, basically. So just use common sense, I say. Like in general, I never had issues, because I was a bit worried, because I already filmed, probably you already saw my cinematic in Tangier, and the other one that I shot in Chefchaouen. Was a bit worried because usually for every frame that I try to capture, it takes like 10 to 15 seconds that I stand still, like with the camera like this, and pointed to a situation, like a corner, a wall, a situation in general, trying to get the atmosphere of the situation. So I was a bit worried because it's not like a picture, it's not just passing by and taking like a quick picture, a quick snapshot. It's something that shows intention, and the people that are around you or in front of you notice it easily that you are standing like 10 seconds or 15 seconds with the camera like this. But actually, using common sense, nothing happened, and I didn't draw like a lot of attention, I think, because if I drew attention, probably someone would have said something, but no one said anything. So apart from this, the mountains between the two cities, like going from Tangier to Chefchaouen, passing through Tétouan, are like amazing. I took some pictures from the bus of these crazy landscapes, so if you like landscape photography, you have to go there. And not talking about photography, like again, this was also the trip of the drinks, like orange juice, virgin mojito, mint black tea. Like these are things that I drank like for all the holidays, and probably I paid for all these drinks during the last day, but still, I mean, these drinks are amazing, especially the virgin mojito, because of course Morocco being like a Muslim country, they don't have like alcohol on the menus, so it was the first time also for me to be on vacation, not to be sober. To be on vacation for like some days without even having a beer, wine, and something like that. And it was also interesting because I was not used to see like adults hanging out at the bars like at 11 p.m, stuff like that, with mint teas or orange juice, fruit juice, this kind of stuff, like in general, smoothies. And it's interesting because coming from Southern Europe, I mean, we have this kind of drinking culture, not as in other places, but we start drinking like early, and then we do it like for all our lives in general. And so we have this thing of going out, having a beer, having a wine glass or bottle, or in general drinking something like socially. So it's interesting to see that you can achieve like a normal social dynamic even without drinking, you know. So seeing adults having their own things like to drink, like normal non-alcoholic things, and having a chat, having a laugh, this kind of stuff. The food, like in general, was also amazing, like the tagine, couscous. I tried something for the first time that was the pastilla, that is like a mix of chicken and cinnamon and chocolate and bread. It's a mix of salt and sweet, basically. Interesting. And also like the Moroccan bread in general, I really loved it. So I'll leave you here in the description some of the places where I went to eat during the days in Tangier and Chefchaouen as well, so that you can check them out in case. There's another common like theme that I wanted to talk about, that is bargaining, because while I was preparing for this trip, I was searching on the internet tips, things to do in Morocco, this kind of stuff, and like every article was talking about bargaining with people, and it's a thing, like people do it. At the same time, after, at least that was my experience, after a couple of days there in Morocco, I started to notice when things were priced like correctly, more or less. So it's not something that happens like as much as a lot of articles say. Like you can do it, but it's not always necessary in my opinion, because a lot of the times the prices of the things that you want to buy are correct, as I was saying. Not everyone is trying to scam tourists, this kind of stuff. It's something that you get to understand like after some days going around markets, all this kind of stuff. And yeah, so it's a thing. At the same time, don't worry too much about that, and just use, as I was saying before, common sense. If something is too expensive for you, you don't want to waste money or to spend money on something that you're not sure about, this kind of stuff, just don't buy it. But it's not always like you don't have always to be bargaining. So as I was saying before, this trip was made of a lot of contrasts. Like for example in Chefchaouen you see like these blue enchanting alleys, and then like just a couple meters away you see like more difficult situations, let's call them like this, like buildings that are not that apart from being blue, they are not that nice, people living on the streets. So it's this kind of contrast that I'm talking about. Like for example, I talked to some proud locals that were, you know, talking about the history of Morocco and the importance of Morocco, and a lot of like interesting things. At the same time, I happened to talk to like this guy who was selling paintings on the street in Chefchaouen, and he started like telling me the story of his life. Basically, he was like, my dream was Paris, and Morocco is nice only for tourists. So it's this kind of mixture, you know, as I was saying before, this kind of contrast. Like very proud people, people who tell you that you are welcome in Morocco, that it's a great place, everything, and other people who don't feel the same way, you know. Like especially this thing about Morocco being beautiful only for tourists hit me because it's something that I usually say about Italy, because as you know guys, I'm Italian, I come from Italy, but I've been living in Portugal for the last 5 years, and usually when people ask me about Italy I say that it's only nice for tourists. And I think that it's true, at least and partly it's true. But as I was saying before, this guy talking about Morocco and selling things on the street, you know, it's always a matter of perspectives, you know. So in Morocco, I learned that something amazing can happen to you right after something difficult can happen, and like it's a sort of metaphor of life in some sense. All these contrasts, all these extremes, all this kind of stuff. Like especially in Tangier, there are luxury villas, modern neighborhoods, and there's also the rest. So yeah, you got the point. For me, like it was a very, very important experience. I also bought a Morocco jersey because it was also the first time of me going out of Europe, of visiting another continent, actually. I was saying another country, but I've already been in some countries. So yeah, visiting another continent, Africa in this case. And it's, as I said before, it's an important experience in general, and it's something that I recommend to everyone who wants to be like a more seasoned traveler, to, you know, see the world a bit more, to expand your horizons in some ways. I know that all these things are very banal, very obvious, but you know, until you don't go out of your comfort zone, of your continent, like in this case, some things, you know, you don't manage to get them, you don't manage to really see them, you know. So yeah, I think that it was a really important experience, and I think that I will do it again, like going out of Europe in general to other continents. Not only Africa, other continents as well. Like we don't have a lot of continents, but at one point I will try to visit them all. And yeah, last tip before concluding this video, Kasbah was definitely worth it. I didn't know there was a ticket to pay. It's like 50 dirham, that is like 5 euros, but it's totally worth it. The whole story of the lighthouse, the gardens, the museum inside, it's very, very interesting. So in my opinion, it's as I said before, it's worth it. For what concerns the Grotte der Cool, the Hercules Caves, I think that it's in English, the ticket is 80 dirham, 8 euros, and yeah, it's nice. It's one of the things that you should see in Tangier, according to the guides, but at the same time, I don't know, it's not something that hit me that much. I preferred the Kasbah, honestly, so I wouldn't consider it like a must-see. I don't think that it's like this. Still nice, interesting. A bit overpriced in my opinion because it's pretty small, but so if you made it this far, like until the end of this video, thank you guys. I hope that you enjoyed the stories, the tips, the photos especially. So let me know in the comments if there's something in particular that you liked, or something that you want to add about your experience in Morocco, for example, or something that I didn't do that I should have done in Morocco, or that I did and I shouldn't have done. I don't know. So just to conclude, I think that Morocco taught me that in life, just like in travel, you can go up and down really fast, and it's something that resonates with me a lot, especially in the last period. If you watched the last videos that I uploaded, you probably understood what I'm talking about. So yeah, this trip was very important to me, and I'll keep it in my heart. And see you in the next video. Bye guys.